Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Basketball Bulletin. I'm Trevor Lane. We've got some breaking news, and this is never the kind of news that you want to see. Damian Lillard, according to Chris Haynes, is now out indefinitely after being diagnosed with a blood clot in his right calf. Now, the Bucks did confirm this. Lillard is on blood thinners, which has stabilized the clot. You know, one of the things I always like to keep in mind whenever we see a situation like this is that blood clots can be life-threatening. Like that's the seriousness of something like this. A blood clot, deep vein thrombosis, which is what you also see it called. This can be a life-threatening situation. Can obviously be bigger than basketball. However, on the positive side, some good news here, right, is that he's already on blood thinners to help stabilize the blood clot. He will continue with regular testing to get him back to good health. So the fact that the Bucks are not immediately saying his season is over, as was the case with Victor Wembanyama. He's dealing with deep vein thrombosis right now. Brandon Ingram has lost significant time due to the same thing. The fact that Damian Lillard is dealing with it, by the way, in his calf, that's a little bit different, but in his calf, the fact that they're not saying this is going to be a season ender, he's not going to come back or anything like that, hopefully that is a good sign for the Milwaukee Bucks, because this is brutal timing beyond the, once we get past the life-threatening, because that, of course, has to be the priority here. Whenever you have something like this that's life-threatening, basketball has to be very, very secondary. But based on the reporting around this, it doesn't sound like it's that big of a concern in terms of being a life-threatening situation. Hopefully it does stay that way, right? Hopefully it's not something that is life-threatening. And the fact that he's on blood thinners, that's good. Now then, getting to the basketball piece to this, this is brutal timing for the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, we're talking, we are weeks away, not months. We are weeks away from the NBA playoffs, and to lose Damian Lillard is absolutely brutal. You take a look at the Eastern Conference right now. You take a look at the playoff race. The Cavs and the Celtics, they are separated, obviously, at the top. Everybody sees the East as the top two, and then everyone else. But the Bucks are in that next group right there with the Knicks. I've contended that the Knicks are in a tier by themselves, and then it's the Pacers, the Bucks, and the Pistons after that in kind of their own sub-tier. But I think the Bucks have the ability to play with the Knicks, to be up at that level of play. Just that's how good Giannis is. And Damian Lillard certainly has the ability to go on a tear in the playoffs. But now with his return, his availability for the postseason very much up in the air, you have to wonder, is this, just the end of the Bucks in terms of their ability to make any kind of a deep run? Like, for example, are the Detroit Pistons now potentially going to pass the Bucks in the playoff seeding here? Could they wind up in the 5 seed, the Pistons? What kind of a turnaround would that be if the Pistons could be not only a playoff team, but the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference? That would be something. But they're 2 games back. The Bucks are in the loss column of the Pacers right now. And without Lillard, it's going to be really tough sledding to try to catch up when you look at the Bucks schedule ahead. Not going to be easy for the Bucks to catch up to the Indiana Pacers, given that they're right now 2 games back in the loss column. The Pacers have won 5 games in a row. The Bucks lost their last game. So that's a difficult situation to begin with. And then you've got the Detroit Pistons chasing the Bucks right behind them, 1 game back in the loss column. And with the Bucks already dealing with now a loss of Damian Lillard, that's going to be tough for them to pick up the kind of wins that they need. Now, maybe a little bit of saving grace in terms of hanging on to that playoff seeding. You look, Detroit right now has the second most difficult remaining schedule in the NBA. That is certainly noteworthy. That's a big situation for them. But then you go look at Milwaukee, as most teams are, 22nd most difficult schedule remaining. So maybe Milwaukee can hang on just because they don't have a super difficult schedule, but there are some really important games coming up for them. So let's take a peek at this. So this is where the Bucks are looking at for the next couple of weeks here. They did just lose to Phoenix. Devin Booker last night hit a clutch shot with about 1.5 seconds left, knocked it down, ultimately became the game winner, and gave the Suns the win over the Bucks there. But look at this. You've got Denver. You've got New York. I mean, none of those are going to be easy. Jalen Brunson probably not back in time for that one, but we'll see. But Jalen Brunson probably not back for the next. And the Hawks have been playing good basketball lately. You get Phoenix again, who you just lost to. There's no certainty in those next 4 games. Again, the Bucks overall have a relatively easy schedule, but there's no certainty given that Phoenix is right now trying to do everything they can to hang on to that 10 seed in the Western Conference. So they're going all out. They're listed as one of the easier teams remaining on the Bucks schedule. You've got the Knicks. The Hawks have been playing better basketball recently. Then, all right, 76ers. Miami, you never really know. I don't know what the hell's going on with Miami. You never know what's going to happen there. Then you've got the Pelicans. Okay, the Pels especially, well, but second night of a back-to-back, you never know with Zion, but you would expect the Bucks to be okay there. Then you get the Wolves. That's not it. And the Wolves are probably fighting for playoff positioning right there on April 8th. You get the Pels again. And then, oh boy, hang on to your hat. See, here's the thing. This is what it's all going to come down to, everybody. And this is going to be crazy. 2 games in a row, a away and home for the Bucks against the Detroit Pistons. That's going to determine right there the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. Who's going to get there? The Bucks, the Pistons, 2 games in a row. That gives an opportunity for either side to cement their space because there's so much ground you can make up when you're playing your direct competitor twice in a row, and would have to assume I hope he's not. I hope he's back, but would have to assume Damian Lillard's not available for those games, which then means the Milwaukee Bucks would have to face the Pistons and hope to get a win in at least a couple of those games. Now, it could be that Giannis is just so good that it doesn't matter. It could be that Giannis is just so good that he's still able to beat the Pistons, but I do like this Pistons team. You could see what's been happening here with the Bucks without Dame. They've got Ryan Rollins in there who can be okay at times, but again, you are really missing Damian Lillard if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis put up 31 and 10 with 5 assists. You got 23 out of Brook Lopez and still lost to the Phoenix Suns, and that's with Lopez playing 42 minutes, Giannis playing 37 minutes. That doesn't bode well for the Milwaukee Bucks right now. And again, when we go back and we look at playoff seeding and what this could mean, let's say the Bucks do fall to the 6th seed. Let's say despite having an easier schedule than Detroit, without Dame, Milwaukee is just not as dangerous and they fall to the 6th seed. That would put Milwaukee into a round 1 matchup with the New York Knicks. And if there is no Damian Lillard, look, if Dame is healthy, if Dame plays, that's actually a pretty damn interesting series. That's a pretty interesting series in the Eastern Conference is if Dame is healthy and if he's playing. But if he's not, I expect that the Knicks would make short work of the Bucks and their season would once again come to an end in round 1 of the playoffs. And then Detroit would get a matchup with Indiana. That would be a fascinating matchup in the East. Of course, all of this is secondary behind the 1 and 2 seeds in the East, the Cavs and the Celtics. I don't think anybody is surviving round 2 against either the Cavs or the Celtics, but the Bucks were a team that, if healthy, could potentially make it to round 2. I mean, in a 4-5 matchup against the Pacers, I would favor a healthy Bucks side, and by a decent margin. I don't think it would be all that close. I like the Bucks more than, I'm not to say the Pacers are a bad team because they're not, but Giannis and Dame in playoff time, yeah, I'm going to take them over the Pacers. Giannis by himself against the Knicks, especially assuming Jalen Brunson is back and healthy, I don't like that nearly as much. I think this Bucks team was in good shape pre-injury to Dame to potentially get on to the second round, and then you're going to see, in this case, it would be Cleveland. If they stay in the 4-5 matchup, it would be the Cavs. And at that point, I would predict their season would come to an end. The Cavs have just been significantly better than everybody else by so much that the Bucks season would likely end there in round 2. But now, I don't think they survive round 1 if they do wind up dropping into the 6th seed. And once again, 2 massive games now at the end of the season for the Bucks and the Pistons to essentially determine, unless something changes drastically over the next couple of weeks, to determine who will see the New York Knicks in round 1 of the playoffs. The Knicks not going anywhere. They're going to stick in that 3 seed. I would assume the Pacers probably hang on to the 4 seed there as well. But man, brutal injury news here. Never what you want to see, especially when we're talking about something that could potentially be life-threatening. So first and foremost, as always, heal up Dame. Hope he's able to return to full health. But for the Bucks, absolutely devastating timing for this to happen heading into the playoffs, and this could very much change their playoff path. This could change the look of the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, and this could change how long the Milwaukee Bucks are able to stick around in the postseason. But everybody, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the channel. Turn on those notifications as well. We appreciate everybody who has subscribed to the channel thus far. Thank you again, everybody. Best wishes, of course, to Damian Lillard. Till next time, see ya, and stay safe.